So this is Dr. Do again. This video is alphabetic list problems, letter H. And today I'm going to talk about the hyper or hyponatremia, which means either too much sodium or not enough sodium. First of all, let me just bring up the information or any situation associated with this hyper or hyponatremia. Warrant emergency visit? Yes. For either both hyper or hyponatremia, if it is severe, that will cause not only the feel weakness and slow down in the heart, and also the muscle loss of the strength, and also can impact the nervous system. Not like potassium only affect heart and muscles. This sodium can also affect the nervous system, so may lose consciousness or bring the nerve cells either break or lost the function, demyelination, for example. So if that's the case, feel sluggish and lost consciousness, so you need to see the emergency. Usually, however, this hyper or hyponatremia occurred with the underlying problems like kidney or endocrine or idiopathic. There are some conditions just from the regulation hormones has this abnormal of the sodium and osmolarity disturbance. So if that's the case, even though it's not an emergency situation, you need to talk to your physician to get diagnosed and to manage. And can you manage at home? It depends. For example, if you just run a marathon and sweat a lot without any replacement or without any fluid, then you probably develop this hypernatremia. High osmolarity, sodium in the blood is going to be high. So if that's the case, you can drink some fluid with some sodium. But if that's the case, means that your dehydration is severe. Still, it's a good idea to get advice from professions, from your physician, your nurse, to guide you how to replace this fluid loss. Or the long-term diarrhea, lasting diarrhea also, or vomiting can cause this dehydration, disturb the sodium level. You can replace with some electrolytes over the counter, but still it's good to get advice from your physician and to guide you to replace without disturb the balance. So anyway, the sodium, let me just talk about the sodium. Sodium is different from potassium because the concentration of sodium is very high in the interstitial or outcellular fluid. It plays important role to maintain the osmolarity of cells, particularly nerve cells. Not like the potassium, if the sodium level is abnormal, not just only impact the muscle cells or heart or cardiac cells, also damage the nerve cells, causing the weakness and lost consciousness. So that's why it is so important to maintain normal sodium level. I give you an example. Our body has the sodium concentration 0.9%. That's the normal concentration, and with equilibrium of osmolarity among the cell and also the cellular fluid, extracellular fluid. You can use the example, you put the egg in the, if you have 0.9% of sodium or salt, the egg will maintain there, not break, not shrink. But if you put 0.1% of sodium, which means the cell has more sodium compared to the solution, then this high concentration of sodium will drive the fluid. Water follows the sodium, or sodium drives the water. So the water will get into the cell, into the egg, and the egg will just swelling up. On the other hand, if you put the egg in 3% of sodium solution, then because again the water goes with the sodium, so the cell or the egg will be shrink, just like this is mechanism used as a lot of case of preserved eggs. Use high salt to drive out the water, so the egg, including the yolk, become dense. So this is just the fundamental biochemical mechanism. Back to our body, we have the regulation for the normal sodium level, the hormones, antidiuretic hormone, ADH, or sometimes aldosterone. Aldosterone main function is to regulate potassium. It also contributes to the sodium management, sodium level maintenance. So any of these abnormalities, and also these two hormones, either aldosterone or the antidiuretic hormone, their functioning site are the kidneys. So either those disturbance or abnormal of the hormones or the kidney problems will affect the sodium level and affect the intracellular or extracellular osmolarity. So this is the mechanism, and the mechanism of ADH, antidiuretic hormone, is to promote the kidney absorb the sodium and water. And where I talk about the aldosterone is to preserve sodium and excrete potassium for the exchange. So give you this idea how these two hormones regulate at different sites of the kidney, the tubules. I'm not going to go detail because this just gives you the idea of how to maintain the sodium level in the body. And the causes of this hyper or hyponatremia. For the hyponatremia, lost from the sodium bicarb. Bicarb sometimes drag the sodium together, so from the diarrhea can cause this bicarb loss along with sodium. And also the kidney abnormality or the hormone abnormality cause this. And the test very straightforward. The symptoms, like I said, is feel weakness. If the hyper or hyponatremia not severe, and just feel weakness, and you may affect the heart and also the nervous system. If it is severe, like I said, it may cause the lost consciousness. So basically, like I said, these abnormality of sodium usually occur with the underlying conditions, endocrine or kidney disease, and some of them are idiopathic. Young people could have this abnormality of the sodium metabolism, feel swelling and or feel lack of strength, or too much or too less of urine. So if that's the case, you probably consider to talk to your physician, particularly for those had family histories. So these are just the summary of the presentations and etiology for this. And in terms of treatment, of course, has to manage, if it's either endocrine or kidney condition, has to be managed under the guidance of the physician. Actually, it's quite complicated, especially to correct sodium. Cannot correct it too fast. If there's too much sodium in the body, if you correct too quick, then cause nerve cell damage. Or if you correct too slow, then it's not going to bring the treatment, bring the cure. So it is kind of really has to be managed by the physician, under the guidance of physician. So this is about this video, hyper or hyponatremia. I'm going to stop here and hope that it helps you for those already have the underlying condition, or for those do not know whether you have or have not, and particularly if you have family history associated with this abnormalities, you need to talk to your physician if you have the symptoms. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.